Hello. Don't mind me, I just woke up. I kind of do videos on the spur of the moment when they come to me. So it doesn't matter if I just woke up or if it's in the middle of the day. I just wanted to have a quick chat about anxiety. I just watched, a video on YouTube about someone else's anxiety and how they experienced it. And I kind of want to talk about mine for a moment because I have terrible, terrible anxiety. Terrible, terrible anxiety. And people kind of generalize it. They think that anxiety is just panic attacks and worries and thoughts. It's so much more than that. And I just want to talk about it for a moment because I feel like there's so many people out there who experience it and feel like they are alone because they don't feel it as a form of a panic attack or anything like that. When I get my anxiety, well, first of all, I have so many different forms of it also. I've had panic attacks. I have just had, I worry a lot. And I've had severe hypochondria. But mostly, my anxiety as of the last year has been just waves of fear that come over me. Not in the form of, not like a panic attack where my heart races and I can't feel like I feel like I can't breathe. It's like an unrelenting fear that comes over me, almost like someone put a gun to my head without no one having done it. It kind of, creeps up from my toes all the way to my head. It's like a warm tingle, and it just feels terrifying. It is very scary feeling. Sometimes it even feels eerie. And it'll go away and then it'll come back. So sometimes it'll come and go in waves throughout the day. Like, sometimes they're really high waves, sometimes they're just little small waves, but it comes and goes. Sometimes they're better. Some days are better than others. Some days aren't so great. Now, for me, the anxiety continues because I actually am afraid of anxiety. So my fear of anxiety brings on more anxiety. I know it sounds strange to be, afraid of fear, basically, but that's what makes mine worse. I'm so fearful of anything that's going to make me feel anxious whatsoever. Anything that might make me feel a little bit scared then makes me feel anxious because I'm afraid that feeling is going to turn into anxiety. So, like, for instance, I'm a huge horror film lover. I love horror films. But in the past year, I haven't been able to watch them so much because I'm afraid that I'm going to feel afraid during a movie, which is normally a feeling I would like watching a horror film. But I'm afraid I'm going to feel afraid during a movie and end up turning into anxiety. End up feeling anxious because I'm afraid. Sometimes even emotions in general make me feel afraid. Like if I feel like I could be sad, I get anxious. I question everything. Every single thing to do with my thoughts. I question why I'm thinking it. What does it mean? Does it mean I'm depressed? Does it mean I'm anxious? And sometimes my anxiety will spike for no reason. I could look at a picture or I could look at the light on the wall, and just for some reason, my anxiety, my brain makes me think, okay, you have to be afraid of that, even if only for a moment. That's fearful, and then you come down. So you can spike for no reason at all, and not even that. It's not even you're not even associating fear with what you're looking at, but for some reason, it still spikes. And so, just the anticipation of the anxiety for me causes anxiety. And like I said, my anxiety is not just, not being able to breathe properly, not, shaking and everything like that. Mine is just an unbelievable fear that comes over my body. The most uncomfortable. I can't even explain the feeling. It's just a negative feeling that comes over my body when it happens. And it feels awful. And sometimes I don't always feel that come over my whole body. Sometimes I just feel like it's here. Sometimes I just feel like it's in my brain, that it just, a fear comes over me. And sometimes it'll go away within seconds. Sometimes it'll last for minutes and then go away and then come back and then go away and come back. Just like I call that wave. And sometimes it brings new feelings that I've never experienced before. And, I'll be like, okay, I've never felt this way before. And another thing about it is it feels relentless. It feels, when it comes on, it feels like this is it. It's never going to go away again. And that feels that way quite often because I've had, anxiety my whole life. Ever since I was a kid, I started with OCD. And when, it reaches different levels every few years. So I went through most of my life as a kid with OCD, and then I became a severe hypochondriac. And then I just went through life worrying a lot. And then in, around 2009, I took a completely different level with anxiety that I never knew existed. I started being afraid of everything around me. I started being afraid of life in general, like reality. Like I started questioning things, thoughts entered my head that I'd never thought before and really scared me. Like thoughts philosophical thoughts, that scared me a lot. Existence and stuff like that. And I thought, wow, Robin, you just lost it. Like, you're crazy. Now you are now there's no coming back from this. But it took a very, very long time. And I started to slowly level out again. And then, about last September, I took a really, really bad hit with anxiety. And, it was honestly just because I felt really dizzy coming off of a boat. And that sent me into panic and to anxiousness. And that lasted for a few months. And then in December, I never really came down from that one. And then in December, I remember one day just feeling numb, not knowing how I felt, not how my emotions were. And like I said, I've never been depressed in my life. I was always afraid of it. So that feeling came over me. I'm like, oh my God, maybe I'm depressed. And instantly panicked. Instantly. It was just a day, maybe an hour of just feeling not happy, not sad, not anything, in which everybody goes through. But in my mind, that meant I was having depression, and I instantly went into panic mode, and that was probably the worst feeling ever I've had with anxiety. So from then until even now, I still have anxiety every day. It slowly comes down over time. And some days are worse than others. And for women, you might notice that you get more anxious around that time of the month. But now it's slowly coming down for me. But I do think that, okay, September's coming. My kids are going back to school. I'm going to be anxious again because I'm going to be by myself. This is why I'm trying to find a job right now. But I thought, I'm already fearing that time of year when my anxiety spiked last year. And not for any particular reason other than just being afraid of having anxiety. So, there's so many other things I could say and explain about how my anxiety feels, actually, there's so many other ways my anxiety feels, but I actually can't put it into words. It's really hard and very difficult to explain. But I just want people to know that anxiety has so many different forms. It's not always panic attacks. And I want people to understand, if you've never had anxiety, which I highly doubt that you haven't, because everybody, I believe, has experienced it in some form or another. But please do not just chop it up to a panic attack where people need to learn to breathe and to, distract themselves. It doesn't work that way whatsoever. Yes, maybe an anxiety or maybe a panic attack you can come down from, but when you have a serious anxiety disorder, you don't just come down from it. Taking a bath, going for a walk, having a drink of tea or water, or, practicing breathing exercises is not going to help you. It's really, what you do need is a therapy to basically try to, train your brain to think differently or to respond differently. And then I went to, I'm waiting to hopefully go through some CBT, but I did try ACT therapy, which was really, really helpful also. And that is basically about, learning that anxiety is always going to be in your life in one form or another. You can't control your thoughts. You can't control your feelings. You can only control your actions. So in order to reach your goals in life, you have to sometimes just pick that anxiety up and go with it. Instead of staying home on your couch, covered up in your bed, you kind of just got to be like, okay, I know it's going to suck. but I got to get up and I got to go do this day. And you kind of carry your worries and your fears with you. So you might go out to the mall or go to grocery shopping and still be feeling anxious while you're there, but you still have to do it. And you have to move on with your life and do things. And eventually, anxiety will naturally take the back burner because you will start getting yourself more involved and engaged in other things that are far more important. So, therapy is key, but moving on with your life is key. You have to work towards your goals, towards your values, which are like, maybe you want to learn just be able to spend more time with your kids, be happy, get a job. There's things that you want to do in your life that anxiety, or that you feel like anxiety is interrupting, is stopping you from. But reality, it's you stopping yourself. Anxiety is nothing physical. Like, it's not a physical entity. It's not like it doesn't have physical form. You are stopping yourself. And then, as uncomfortable as it is, because trust me, no one knows better than I do how uncomfortable it is to go on with your anxiety and try to do things that you have to do, but you have to do it. It's not going to go away while you're sitting at home on the couch or laying in your bed. It's not going to go away on its own that way. You have to move on with your life and let anxiety naturally take the back burner. That's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a very long time. It takes a lot of hard work. And I'm not there yet. And I may never be there. I may never, ever be anxiety free. And I've come to terms with that. But the days where I'm like, oh, I don't want to go to the grocery store, I'm like, Robin, you got to get up. You got to do it. As uncomfortable as it makes you, you can't let anxiety dig deeper and make you stay where you are and not, basically cripple you. And it's going to make you uncomfortable, but it's just what it is. It's just the way it is. It's no one ever said it's going to be easy, and it's not going to be. But you have to do all the hard work to get through it. And I know that there's going to be days that are a lot more easier to get up and do what you have to do. But, and there's some days that you won't be able to. But you can't be hard on yourself either. You can't be like, oh, I failed. I can't do this. You have to be like, okay, I'm going to try harder tomorrow, until eventually you do it. But do not be hard on yourself. I also learned that you should accept your fears and your thoughts, like with what they say, like kindness, embrace them in a sense. Let the anxiety be there. Don't fight it. Whatever you do, do not fight your anxiety. Do not try to be like, oh my God, I'm anxious, I better distract myself. Or, oh my God, I hate this feeling, and try to fight it off. You don't. Let it come over you. Let your body feel it. And it's going to make you so uncomfortable. But let it be there without fighting it all. It's actually a way of desensitizing your body to it. You desensitize your body to your anxiety. So, eventually it'll feel less and less intense each time. But it takes don't expect that to happen overnight, because it takes a long time. And I also learned to try to view your anxiety from an objective point of view. And I learned that, just like they said, basically picture it like a volleyball court. One side is your thoughts, the other side is your anxiety, and you're the court. You're kind of the observer, and you're just watching the thoughts bounce the ball back and forth to the anxiety and watching it go forward. So kind of just view it from from an outside perspective if you can. But you kind of just have to, it's hard to separate yourself from your thoughts. Trust me, I know. But you kind of have to do that if you can. So, but, the most important thing, and a lot of people don't do this, is you need to get therapy. You need to seek help. So everything I just told you, that's what I learned. You may learn something completely different within a different therapist, but it doesn't matter. You have to get the help you need. You have to get the therapy that you need. Medication. Everybody, a lot of people take medication, myself included. It is not the be-all and end-all. It is not going to 100% take away your anxious problem. It's going to dull it, but you still have your own work to do. please, everybody who has anxiety disorder, please don't let it ruin your life. As hard as it is to do that, get help, get therapy. There is a way out of it. And sitting at home and doing nothing about it is not going to do anything but make it worse. Get the help you need, please, because I know I suffer and I know how much it hurts and how horrible it is. So I wish for all of you the best, and I'm here if anybody ever needs to talk. Have a good day.